Hello and welcome to another episode of the Contractor Grow Show. My name is Mark, and today I'm speaking with Ben Russell at Russell Interior Systems in Escondido in the larger San Diego area. Ben, thanks so much for being with us.
My pleasure.
Yeah, fantastic. So you have been at this for a long time. You've got a lot of great things to share just about kind of business, how to run a successful business. I'd love to start just by hearing a little bit more about the history of Russell Interior Systems, how you guys got started and where things are at today.
So I started doing construction pretty much right out of high school in the late 80s. And I really enjoyed it. I like seeing the final product of what we build, acoustical ceilings, T-bar ceilings, and did that for many years. And I thought one day I want to do this for myself, package some TIs. So those trades I just mentioned here are two classifications, a C2 and a C9. So I stayed in the field for probably 10 different companies and learned as much as I could. I tried to work for some of the bigger, better companies here locally. And then I moved to Phoenix, worked for one or two there. But then after about 14 years in the field, I got offered a superintendent position in which I took it. I was from a guy that I'd known a long time, always worked under him, kind of followed him up the ranks, and he became manager and successful business owner these days. He's still doing it. So I was able to be a field super for another 12 years. And so that's a long time to work for people. But towards the end of that, I decided I want to get my license. And it was around 2008. And at that time, there was a housing market crash, so construction was tight. So I kind of held on a little bit longer. But during all those years, I look back and I'm just so thankful to be mentored, but very important to acquire good habits, profitable habits, safe habits. And I took everything that I learned, kind of discarded some of the bad things, the companies that didn't treat their employees well, hey, I don't want to be like that. But usually the big companies, they know how to take care of the guys, pay them well, give them bonuses, some paid time off they need, proper equipment, nice work. So with that, I started my own business doing T-bar, and just like I said, some TIs, mostly T-bar, acoustical ceilings. Okay. So yeah, I took all those habits. I started small. It was me and just, one guy. So that would be where I would say I'll begin to is what to do and what not to do to be successful. Leave your companies on good terms, never burn a bridge, work hard for them. You never know when you might need to call up that old boss or manager and ask them a question, and if you've screwed them over, they're not even going to answer your call, So whatever your work ethics are, when you work for a company, whether your seabed attitude is probably going to carry over into your business, and that's not good. So work hard, be honest. I would say also try to work with the best guys. Listen, absorb what they tell you. Those veterans, those seasoned guys, they know a lot of tricks and ways to make money. Smarter, not harder, right? That's absolutely true. To this day, I see guys doing it, a harder way, and I'll tell them, hey, why don't you try this? And they appreciate it usually. I would also advise not to say, oh, I know everything. I've been doing this 10 years, 12. You can't teach me anything new. That's completely false. I still learn things to this day, evolving tools. There are tools coming out, new methods that make things quicker and easier, which equates to good profit. So guys that are too hard-headed to listen and learn something new, they're doomed. They're doomed. They're stuck. Right. So, but yeah.
That's awesome, man. I get the sense that you are passionate about kind of business itself. And, I mean, just even the notes from when you talked to Haley originally, I mean, she's got all of these great notes of things that you guys talked about. And I love that, just someone who kind of appreciates and loves kind of the game of business itself. Some of the things that you guys are doing, I love the points that you had kind of touched on when you were talking with her. But one of them is, don't get too greedy, staying in your lane, right? Taking on more and more scope that you don't know about is how guys get in trouble. I mean, Ben, what are the specific services that you offer, and how have you resisted the temptation to go off into these other areas that I'm sure you get opportunities to go, do things that are far outside of your lane. But I mean, what's your philosophy about that, and why does that matter?
If you're not licensed to do something, probably shouldn't be doing a whole lot of that unless it's someone you really know and you do it in small scale. But there are laws against doing trades that you're not licensed for, number one. Number two, if you do, you start getting greedy. And let's say in my trade, I start getting asked to do, can you do aluminum glazing and doors? And I probably could, but that's complicated. It's expensive. I'm not licensed for it. And if you do it wrong, it's very expensive. So just stick with what we know. And because we didn't get our education, we didn't spend time in the field learning how to do glazing, for example. That's commercial storefront glass or doors. In our trade, we can do doors, and the simple ones, but you start getting into custom doors with mortise locks and things. Hey, leave that for the experts. Those guys have all the tools. They are licensed door contractors, and I wouldn't attempt to do, a complete TI of all the doors. If they ask me to, thank you, but it's just not in our scope. Oh, come on, we'll pay you. Really, I'm going to stay in our lane,
And so to this day, is the kind of tenant improvements, the TI, is this kind of a big majority of the work that you guys do in the San Diego area?
Definitely. Yeah, we branched out to do other types, more specialized, but it's within our scope and our licensing. And so we're to have the opportunity. There are other types. We do work for some customers where I have little competition, and I love it, and they like what we do. So I'll just leave it at that.
Okay, great. I also noticed that you're passionate about keeping your team happy. And I mean, can I ask how maybe you have a range of team members? Maybe they're all subs. I mean, are you willing to share kind of how many folks are on your team these days?
Sure. Our team fluctuates, the size. It goes up and down. I'll tell you, when I started, I came from big companies, and I had an estimator and a payroll, payable, person. And I wanted to go big. I was really, big minded. Let's do $5-6 million gross sales. Right. And we started out like that. And I just realized it'll wear you down. I'm in my 50s now, and I'm just not willing to chase money. I have family, I have pastimes, so we went from as many as 26 down to about 5, sometimes 3, sometimes 8. But yeah, we can man up and man down as necessary. I'd like to get back to the treating the employees, but with that, I would say, don't take more work than you can handle. You're in trouble because you have to find the manpower. And if you can't find the good manpower, you end up getting bodies. You're throwing bodies at the work. Now you have quality issues, you have production issues, your insurance goes up, profit and production goes down. Just stay at a comfortable level, whatever that may be. 3 guys, 10 guys, or gals, I'll tell you some numbers that I learned from some smart guys. It's like, would you rather do $2 million at 10% or $1 million at 20% profit? Okay. It's the same. So don't take a bunch of cheap work. because now you're just feeding the machine. You say, oh, I've got this 15-man crew and I've got to take any job I can get. Okay, I don't mind saying no to cheap jobs. Okay, let that next person take that job. If you bid a job for 10,000 and they say, hey, we got this number over here for 8,600, will you do it for that? And I'll say, you're asking me to come down 14%. Thank you, but they can have it, because you should know where your comfort level is. So if somebody's willing to go make 5 or 8, it doesn't, one small mistake, one miscalculation on material, you're doing it for free. And we don't do that. So I would say, don't get so big and greedy that you end up feeding the machine and you're taking all kinds of work out of town, low profit work, then now it's consumed you. And so that's why I've downsized. We like that. Now you can get a lot of work done with, 8 guys and do, keep your profits up. Let those other guys that want to lowball and take those cheap jobs, hey, good luck. A lot of times you get what you pay for too. So
big time. Man, I love that you're talking about that. We talk to a lot of contractors and work with a lot of contractors, and I am always really presenting that exact question. I mean, I haven't said it exactly like that, but I mean, would you rather do 2 million, 2 million a year and take 10% or 1 million and take 20%? It's the same thing. It's the same take home, right? But I mean, the management and the hassle and the liability, right? I mean, it's so much higher with
potential for accidents. Your insurances go up, your workers' comp goes way up with all those man hours. You probably lose more in the big picture. So, and it becomes somewhat unmanageable. Then what? Now you're bringing in or, more overhead. You need help running this larger crew. So it becomes a hassle. Okay. It's very stressful. It's not good on the home life. You need a balance, your marriage and your, private time too.
Sure.
That's very important to me.
Yeah, man, seriously, it's a great reminder. Ben, can I ask you, okay, since you're talking about this part about like if someone came in with a low price project or they're like want a low bid on something and you're saying we're not going to do that. I really love the way that you're talking about profit. I mean, it's not a lot of people talk about that on this show and the kind of the profit percentage. I mean, contracting is notoriously lowish profit, at least relative to the top line, right? And so, I mean, can I ask you, not looking for specifics or any kind of special details here, but can I ask you on a yearly basis, what percentage of jobs do you turn down that you could do? I mean, you could accept them and you say, no, that's not the work that we want to do. That's not the profit that we want to make. I mean, would it be 5% of people that contact you? Is it 40%? I mean, are you able to share that kind of, discernment of how much, because other contractors are out there and they're facing the same thing. I mean, whether, not in your industry and not in your specific niche. And that's, not trying to dig into that, but just kind of on advice to other contractors. If you and I were talking, having a beer, and I said, dude, I take everything that I'm kind of stressed out and I take everything that comes in here. What would your advice be to me around, you may consider not taking 10 or 20 or 30% of those jobs because they're going to be low profit and it's not worth it. Any thoughts about that?
Sure. I think that depends on your client base. I have a lot of repeat client that often don't get other numbers. They're so comfortable with us. But if you're taking a lot of outside work, lowest bidder gets the job work, that's when I think that percentage would go up a lot. 30, okay. 40, maybe 50%. I mean, it's frustrating when you don't get the job because the next guy is $150 lower. I've seen that. And it's just like, wow, you took 4 or 5 bids. I spent all this time in the office bidding. I'd rather spend that time out in the field, actually making money, running my crews. I wear my tools a lot. That makes money. Spending time chasing a bunch of bids that you lose for 1 or 2% is not want to be. So that number for me, maybe 10 or 15%, because my clientele are repeat customers and they know me. But yeah, sometimes I get phone calls from, people I don't know. And then, so if it's out of town, if it's undesirable work, if it's like you said, lowball, cheap stuff, I have no problem saying no, thank you. We're too busy. Yeah, anywhere between 15 and as much as 40.
Amazing.
A lot of contractors.
Go
ahead.
Well, I want to highlight something Ben said here for our listeners, and this is really important. And he just kind of quickly just said it, but I want to stop and acknowledge something that Ben said here is very important. So what he said is that we've got a lot of sort of consistent customers, and I'm the only one bidding, or not even bidding. I mean, I'm the only one, lined up to do this project. They're not going out and getting 5 competitive bids. And, Ben's got his proprietary, it's got his way of doing business, and we won't necessarily get into, what all of that is, but, and the kind of lead sources and different things, where that comes from. But if you're a contractor listening to this, it's what we're always advocating for. If there's a way, and it's not just referrals, okay, there's a way to set up your marketing, and there's a way to set up, if you can find some new source of leads, sometimes it's insurance adjusters, that you develop a relationship with. Sometimes it's a realtor or a real estate company that you can kind of get in with.
Property management companies.
Love it. And develop a relationship and really protect that relationship. If you can find yourself in a place where you aren't, bidding against, 5 other guys, that it's kind of a race to the bottom. You definitely do not want to be the low bidder. We're always highly encouraging our clients and the listeners to the show to raise your prices. That's part of what Ben is talking about here. He's created a competitive kind of vacuum for himself and is able to charge a premium for the work that he does. Of course, he does great work, but he's also really protecting his relationships. He's been in the community for a long, long time. And so, man, that is just great advice. And I love that you kind of touched on that. And I just want to acknowledge that it changes things. He's turning down maybe 5% of work, where if you're doing bidding against 5 different people, commercial bidding can be like this, and government bidding can be just terrible in this way, right? You can make it work, but you may have to turn down 40 or 50% of the work, right? And Ben saying, if he can be out in the field, managing his crew, wearing tools, getting the job done, that's actually where he makes the money. Yeah. I love it. Fantastic.
Well, not only are you turning it down, but you're just not getting it. Percentages can be even higher of losing jobs to the next guy, the next low number, as high as 70 and 80%. That happened in big companies I work for. They are throwing out, 30 bids a week, 20 to 30 bids a week.
Well,
and they might get 3. If you're landing 50%, you need to raise your numbers. That's way too many jobs that you're getting, in the open competitive market. But again, there's no better client than the one that trusts you and only wants you and aren't taking other numbers. So when you get those, which I have a fair amount, you take care of them. You show up on time, you do good quality, you don't gouge them. You treat them right, and they'll treat you right. There's no better client than wants you. And that comes with trust and consistency. Give them what they're paying for, and why would they look elsewhere? Unless your prices go up and up and up, and then that's not a good idea to gouge your best customers.
I love it. Amazing. So can I ask, when you're...
Can we go back to the man for the...
Yeah, please. Of course.
Settle down on that. We've all been, what's like good. bad. And to, always giving the crap work, not the good stuff. We know what that's like. So why would we do that to our employees? Right? When you have good employees, you need to take care of them. Also knowing what makes them tick, okay? A happy worker is a productive worker. A happy employee is a productive employee. A disgruntled employee, because you've yelled at them, you're giving them the crap out of town work all the time, or denying them raises. I mean, come on. $1 raise. What's $1 raise, Mark, right? That's $40 a week. How about $2? $80 a week. If you have good, asking you money, you need to take care of them, and they will take care of you. Because if you don't, they can definitely screw you over for way more than that when they're disgruntled by showing up late, sandbagging, taking long lunches, spreading negativity. You treat them good, show up on a Friday here and there with lunch, pizzas and sodas and stuff. They're sick one day, pay them for that 2 or 3 times a year, right? These guys are making you money. If you don't take care of them, they're going to go somewhere else where they are taken care of. And that's my recipe for success. I've had plenty of top guys, and you don't want to let them get away. Don't give a raise when they're turning in their 2-week notice. I see that. I've seen that before. That's when I worked for other companies, right? Mine's already made up. So, say, hey, you're doing a great job. I want to raise you $1. They get so happy. I mean, it's a win-win. You treat them good and they'll treat you good.
So. It's fantastic. Well, Ben, just a lot of great stuff in this episode here. Talked about not getting too greedy, not having a huge team, it'll just kind of wear you down over time. You ran a big old, 26-person crew at one point, now down to, a much more reasonable, crew for your business. Talked about the all important like profit percentage. And, I was just talking with a builder earlier today, and he was talking about this. I mean, exactly what you're talking about here. And that, we don't do this for the gross revenue. We do this for the gross profit and really the net profit. That gross number at the top of the P&L, I mean, that's just a vanity metric. And, what we're bringing in, what we're able to keep after taxes. I mean, this is, at least for the money part of it, this is why we do this. And just great advice on that. Just, we're going to just pin this one. It's like, if you're landing more than 50% of your jobs, if you're quoting and doing proposals and quotes, and you land more than 50% of those projects, then your price is too low. That's just, killer advice. I love it. And then the people that are bringing you business that aren't getting multiple quotes, if you're able to find that, access that, take care of those people. And the way you take care of those consistent customers would be property management companies, realtors, different lead sources that you have, do that with trust, with consistency, do what you say you're going to do. So just all kinds of great gems in this episode here. Been fantastic. Are you guys growing the business, or you guys have your thing down so well in your customers? I mean, should I point people to a place to find you, or you just got your thing figured out and you're just jamming at this point, kind of in your own world there?
I think we're always open to entertain.
Yeah, maybe if you're a big property owner and got a bunch of rentals,
Mark,
get in touch with Ben.
Tell you that. Let me put it to you this way: when I first started, I had clients, happy to have my own clients, right? But over time, some of them started paying slow, and in commercial industry, most jobs are bank funded. So there's a process where you don't get paid for 45 days, sometimes 60, sometimes 75. And you start wondering like, wow, I have all this money out. All my payroll, every suppliers they're wanting their money after 30 days, and you start calling them and say, why is it taking so long to get paid? So maybe that one or two jobs, but when it happens again and again and again, which has happened to me, that's a red flag. I would advise anyone that if your customer is paying over 45 to 60 days max in a commercial, they probably have money from their next job to catch up and pay, hoping that they'll get caught up. But I've abandoned certain DCs in the past or customers that say later they're filing chapter 11. I said, I knew it, it was obvious. They won't tell. So I have many customers that I had in the beginning that I've just moved on, evolve, get better and better customers, do more desirable work, ones that that you can make a little bit more money on, and they're happy with it. So to your question, would I be open to more bid invites or opportunities? Absolutely. We'll look at them all, and if it makes sense, let's do it.
Fantastic.
We are selective, Mark. We pick and choose. I'm not trying to take every job and chase every job. I don't want 20 guys anymore. That's a headache.
Yeah. Well, fantastic, Ben. If folks are in the San Diego area and are looking for some tenant improvements, maybe they have a large portfolio of rentals, or some of the other services you guys offer, what are a couple of good ways to get in touch with you?
Office phone 760-839-1390.
Good deal. So if you want to get in touch with Ben Russell with Russell Interior Services, 760-839-1390. Fantastic.
That's
and you can give those guys a call or a text there and just kind of learn more about what they're up to. Ben, just a lot of great helpful information for our listeners today. Really appreciate you taking your time and your wisdom to share, and wish you just great luck here in 2026 and beyond, man. Thank you.
You're welcome, Mark.